pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning and welcome to the December 27th County Commission meeting. I would remind you to silence your cell phones. Meeting documents are in the corner in the white folder. And if you're going to speak at the podium, to sign in. And I think everybody in this room knows those rules because everybody else is still on vacation. With that, we'll move on to routine business. Item number 1 is consider a motion to amend the agenda to move item 8A, authorize the Sheriff's Office to submit an application for the fiscal year 2022 SCAAP grant, and item 8B, authorizing the Commission Chairman to sign the 2023 vehicle lease agreement with Fern ID Motor Cars, Inc., from the consent agenda to the regular agenda following item 30, authorizing the chairman to sign agreements for mental health legal representation, and also to pull item number 6 off of the agenda. So is there a motion?
That's my motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Item number 1B, that was 1A. 1B is consider a motion to approve the amended agenda.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Then we have consent agenda. Is there a motion?
Approve. Second.
I have a motion and a second on consent agenda. Roll call vote, please.
Karski.
Aye.
Benega.
Aye.
Barth.
Aye.
Bender. Heiberger.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Move on to regular business. Item number 10 is authorize the chairman to sign the joint cooperative amended agreement between Minnehaha County and the city of Sioux Falls. Benz?
Carol Muller, Commission Office. Good morning. Yes, before you today is amendment to the agreement that we have for the City of Sioux Falls for Health and Human Services. I think most people are aware of the fact that that is a joint building. County-owned city leases from us, and it's been a great relationship. They're getting ready to do some remodeling downstairs. That agreement you will see in January come before you, so this is separate than this. In the meantime, if I can ask Jake to pull up the second floor. Jake? Oh, sorry. The second floor, you'll scroll down quite a ways down to the floor plan. The only thing this agreement changes is the percentage of the space. Yes, that one. Thank you very much. In the past, on the top right-hand side, there's that reddish color to it, and that was what Multicultural Center used for classrooms. They're no longer using those, so the Health Department is taking that over. So with the addition of that space, the split goes from 74.4% for the city and 25.6% for the county. It changes it by about 2 points to 76.46% for the city, and 23.53 for the county. And bills, utilities, cleaning, all those types of things use that split. So that's why we dug into it. So, and the nice thing about it is we've actually got cleaned up floor plans in this process.
Any questions for Carol? Is there any questions from the public? Motion?
Move. Excuse me. Move for approval.
I'll second.
A motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Benega.
Aye.
Bender.
Aye.
Karski.
Aye.
Barth.
Aye.
Heiberger.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Item number 11 is authorize the chairman to sign an amendment to the agreement dated November 12, 2019 between Pictometry International Co-op and the Minnehaha County, South Dakota.
Thank you. Scott Anderson, Planning Director. Today is an amendment to a contract that we have with Eagle View for our pictometry, our aerial photography that we use for our GIS. You can see it has been reviewed by the state's attorney and deemed to be okay. So I would ask that you approve it today. And in the audience with me is Heidi Yerke. She's our GIS coordinator in case you have any detailed specific questions. This flyover would take place, so they will be doing new imagery next typically April. We fly before, the snow has to be gone, but we want leaf off. So April, sometime, depending on the weather and the conditions.
Okay. Questions for Scott? Commissioner
Scott,
Bailey?
how often do we do this?
Every 3 years, I think. Is it every 3 years? Wasn't sure if it was 3 or 4, but every 3 years.
And we hand this over to our equalization people also, right?
Well, yes, there's many departments that use it. Like I said, it's vital for our GIS, so, the public sees it. And if you think about it, in the last 3 years, just in the county, we've added probably close to 150 new residences. So all of our imagery doesn't show that, so it'll be nice to have that updated because many people use that. Equalization uses it, the sheriff uses it, various volunteer fire departments. It's used by the general public immensely.
Any questions for Scott? Other questions? Questions from the public? Okay, is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Item number 12 is consider a bid results and award recommendations for Minnehaha County 17-10 Highway 149 culverts and grading, and authorize the chairman to sign an agreement with Midwest Contracting Incorporated. Bids were opened on December 7th, 2022. Steve, good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Steve Groen, Highway Superintendent. As you may recall, we bid this project a year ago and pricing came in almost double what we had budgeted. So we went back and relooked at this project, worked with the engineering firm and changed the scope so we can get closer to the original budget for this project. This year, we're just gonna do some grading, structures and culverts. There'll be 2 other phases the following 2 years, and instead of doing a complete reconstruction, we're gonna be doing what's called a cold in place recycle, where we grind up the asphalt and some gravel, use that to widen the road, then we'll come in and pave. Not too many people around here have been doing cold in place recycle, but we were using it quite successfully in the Twin Cities before I came down here. This price did come in 26% above budget, but we did have 2 other structures that we've decided to hold off on, which will make up the difference of the $600,000 on our budget. So we're asking your approval to commence with this long-awaited project.
Questions for Steve? Commissioner Karski?
Yeah, word on the street, Steve, is everything's coming in significantly over budget. 20% is probably the minimum over budget. Is that what you're seeing?
Yeah, actually, we did a bid opening about 2 weeks ago to do a deck overlay that came in 38% over budget. And you're gonna see a commission agenda item next week to reject those bids.
Okay.
And,
The budget, is that set by engineering estimates, or how is that budget
engineering
determined?
estimates, but
Okay.
typically they're a year old. But fortunately, we've been able to take some of these high bid prices and we're reworking our estimates for our bridge improvement grant applications that are going in at the end of the week. So the ones that we're gonna be hopefully getting awarded later, will be submitting higher costs based on current pricing.
Thank you.
Is there any questions from the public? I'd look for a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote.
Barth.
Aye.
Karski.
Aye.
Benega.
Aye.
Bender. Aye. Heiberger.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Steve, would you just give us a quick road update from this weekend? I'm assuming you're leaving because I don't think you're on any more of this agenda. And so if you would just give us a quick update, that would be great.
Our staff worked a lot of hours the last 2 weeks from the last 2 storms. We had a lot of calls on Thursday night. Roads like the Western Avenue in Hartford was completely plugged. We had a deputy was stuck in the north part of the county, so we actually did have to bring crews back in later overnight to help get the deputy out, so we sent them down to Western. We had a pretty good handle on everything by Saturday afternoon, so we let our crews have Sunday and Monday off. But we're out full speed today with blowers and wings, pushing back. There's some video that I posted on my LinkedIn page. If you're curious, there's some other on our Highway Department Facebook page. Kello and other people have been calling a lot. Jacob Mars, our assistant superintendent, was out Saturday with the drone and took some video that Keldo showed on their newscast. And it's just been a lot of hours, but the public's been great. We've been getting some good, more compliments than criticism. And it's gonna be a busy couple days here to get caught up before the next possible event, either on Thursday or Monday. But I just wanna thank our staff. We have a very dedicated group of operators out there, and Hank Trumbull, our operations manager, put in a lot of hours also and took care of a lot of our issues before anybody else gets phone calls.
It was quite the weekend for everybody. If you were lucky if you were staying home. I did think about you guys a lot because I thought they're out here on the road when we're all sitting warm in our house. So
Yeah, thank you
to
very
the
much.
staff. Yep. Okay, we'll move on to item number 13, which is a briefing on the Minnehaha County Investment Program. Treasurer Swanson.
Morning, Chris Swanson, County Treasurer. So at our August 16th commission meeting, we discussed how we could maximize our return on investment since the inflation rate has become so high. So what we had done initially was we had contacted some local investment companies in Sioux Falls, excuse me, but due to state regulations on how public entities can invest, we kind of put that on the back burner and we went with the South Dakota FIT. And South Dakota FIT is South Dakota Public Funds Investment Trust, which is a cash management service for counties. Minnehaha County already has an account with them. They've had it since the early 1990s. We did go over to the city and visited with them over there because they use South Dakota FIT and kind of got a rundown on how, the pros and cons of what they do, and they really encouraged us to go ahead and use South Dakota FIT, so we did. So with my office, the treasurer's office, the auditor's office, and then the commission, we got together and decided how much we wanted to invest in the South Dakota FIT program. We actually identified an amount we wanted to invest in a 12-month treasury bill, which is something new for me. It's been kind of interesting to learn that. Since starting with the South Dakota FIT, though, we have now developed an internal group consisting of myself, the commissioner, Tyler and Carol, and then, Ben and Susan. We've gotten together monthly and we discuss investment amounts, maturity dates, just things like that to kind of keep me, basically teaching me more about this treasury bond stuff, which is really intriguing to me. As right now, we are earning an additional 2.3% in interest over what we were earning in August, which I think 2.3 might be even a little bit, it's not as generous as I think it's more, honestly, is what I think. So, but that's kind of a rundown on what we're doing right now. Yeah.
Are there any questions for Auditor Swanson this morning? Thanks, Chris. I know it's been a learning curve. It would be a learning curve for me if I was
It's
doing
very
it, and
interesting.
so
It's very interesting, so.
we're thankful for the commission office and the auditor's office also stepping up and helping us
Yes, I
figure
do
out how to
appreciate that
invest that
immensely.
money better.
It's been
so,
great. It's been
yeah.
great.
Thank you.
Thanks, you bet.
Is there any questions from the public on that? Item number 14 is an adopted resolution establishing elected department heads 2023 annual salary. Good morning, Carrie.
Good morning, Carrie Deaver from Human Resources. In front of you is a resolution that was drafted based on the discussion that was held last week on elected official salaries. You'll recall that there's really two sections, one that sets base pay amounts for anybody who maybe is interested in running for office or taking office, and the second portion actually sets the salaries for people who are in office as of today. Do you have any questions on the draft resolution?
Any questions? Any questions from the public? Okay, is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
A motion and a second, roll call vote.
Bender.
Aye.
Barth.
Aye.
Karski.
Aye.
Benega.
Aye.
Heiberger.
Aye, motion passes unanimously. Item number 15 is a public hearing to consider a supplement budget request for the 2022 annual budget. Susan Beamer, good morning, Susan.
Good morning, Susan Beeman with the Auditor's Office. On the December 6th meeting, you approved the posting of notice of hearing for today. We have a number of budget supplement requests that have come forward. Everything that's in this briefing memo is what you saw on the December 6th hearing notice, with the exception of an additional item of $9,000 for the planning department. As part of their 2022 budget, they had been approved to purchase a new vehicle. They had that ordered, but then the dealership canceled that order due to supply chain issues. But they were able to secure a 2023 vehicle at 23 pricing, which was obviously higher, which is why they were needing the additional $9,000 supplement. I won't go through all of this in detail unless you have any specific questions. There's a lot in there, so I don't want to go through it in complete detail. But they includes general fund, the 24 sobriety fund, the fire protection fund, the domestic abuse fund, the museum enterprise fund, the bond redemption fund, and capital projects fund.
Are there questions for Susan? Is there questions from the public? Okay, then I would look for a motion on the budget supplement.
Motion to approve the supplements.
I'll second that.
Any other questions? Commissioner Benega?
Susan, are any of the supplements that were requested, can any of those be used to, from the ARPA funding dollar amounts?
Some of them are, and so these are needed to supplement the budget that's in the general fund or other funds. For the departments, and you'll see this coming up on the ARPA supplement, ARPA allows for reasonable salary increases, like adjustments to compensation to help with public sector capacity. So those departments that had overages due to the matrix adjustment, those are going to be helped reimbursed into the general fund through the ARPA funding.
Okay, thank you.
No other questions? I have a motion and a second. Roll call vote.
Barth.
Aye.
Benega.
Aye.
Bender.
Aye.
Karski.
Aye.
Heiberger.
Aye, motion passes unanimously. Item number 16 is consider a motion to authorize the 2022 budget supplement requests using grants, donations, and reimbursements.
So we're going to have 4 different motions in front of you for grants and donations and reimbursements. The first one that's in front of you is just an overall cover letter indicating that they're really coming from 4 main groups. The Emergency Management Department, the Sheriff's Office, Human Services, as well as just a number of variety ones that the Auditor's Office is presenting. So the first one in front of you to approve is the one from the Auditor's Office. The majority of these are routine items. Jake, if you want to scroll down one page. The ones that are unique this year are the Commission Office has a $90,200 one that's related to that Just Home project through Urban Institute and the MacArthur Foundation. And then as well as the Safe Home camera donation from the city of Sioux Falls, where the city helped provide funding to upgrade the security equipment at the Safe Home. And that was a agreement that you guys had signed within the last couple of months. And then as well as we have an $8,450,966 supplement for the ARPA fund. And so the ARPA list is on about 4 pages of items, so I won't go through that in detail.
Are there any other questions on item number 16? Then I would look for a motion on 16.
Move approval.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Roll call vote.
Karski.
Aye.
Barth.
Aye.
Bender.
Aye.
Benega.
Aye.
Heiberger.
Aye, motion passes unanimously. Item number 17 is consider a motion to authorize the 2022 budget supplement requesting using grants, donations, and reimbursements for emergency management.
Before you, there are 3 requests for emergency management grant funding and donation funding from Homeland Security and Police and Reserve donations. Joe Bossman is here from the Sheriff's Office if you happen to have any questions on this item.
Okay. Are there any questions for Susan or Joe? Any questions from the audience? And I need a motion on 17.
Move for approval, Benega.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Roll call vote.
Benega.
Aye.
Barth.
Aye.
Karski.
Aye.
Bender.
Aye.
Hiberger.
Aye, motion passes unanimously. Item number 18 is consider a motion to authorize the 2022 budget supplement request using grants, donations, and reimbursements for the sheriff's office and the jail.
Yes, in front of you, there are numerous donation and reimbursements and grant supplements from the sheriff's office and the jail. Again, I won't go through any of this in detail unless you guys have any specific question, and Joe is here for questions if you have any.
Are there questions on number 18?
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Barrett?
we do publish all those items in the minutes, right? I mean, so
Yes,
citizens
this
can
is all
read it.
part of that.
Thank you.
And also online on the Minnehaha County website, so if you're looking for some of this stuff, you can find it. Any questions from the public? Then I'd look, a motion, please?
I'll make the motion.
A second?
We have a motion and a second for the grants for the sheriffs and the jail. I'll, roll call vote, please.
Barth.
Aye.
Bender.
Aye.
Karski.
Aye.
Benega.
Aye.
Hiberger.
Aye, motion passes
Always
unanimously.
a shock when I get called on first.
Quit sleeping. Item number 19, consider motion to authorize a 2022 budget supplement request using grants, donations, and reimbursements for South Dakota Cares.
Yes. One thing I want to point out on this, there is a small typo on the top paragraph under action requested. The number on the first number under that paragraph, the $135,575.20. There was an extra period in there between the 5 and the 2. So I just want to call that out. It is correct in the body of the memo, but just that was a typo in that section. So there are two different components of the South Dakota CARES funding that were in effect during 2022, which is why there's two different supplements. The ERA 1 funding was for $135,575.20, and the ERA 2 funding is for $4,731,725. So this is a funding through the South Dakota Housing Development Authority, but it is federal funding that's a pass-through from the state.
Any questions on that? Any questions from the public? Okay, I need a motion on 19.
Move approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote.
Karski.
Aye.
Barth.
Aye.
Benega.
Aye.
Bender.
Aye.
Hiberger.
Aye, motion passes unanimously. Thanks, Susan. Item number 20 is consider a motion to authorize the inter-fund transfer from the general fund to the building fund.
Morning, Commissioners. Ben Kite, Auditor's Office, here today to, as we said, authorize the inter-fund transfer from the general fund to the building fund. State statute requires that the general fund balance not exceed 40% of subsequent years' budget appropriations. So as a result of 2022 intergovernmental transfers, we expect that we're going to be exceeding that 40% general fund limitation at year end. So we're recommending that the commission allow the auditor's office to, or authorize the auditor's office to transfer $10 million from the general fund to the building fund that would be assigned for future building needs in the county. This assignment would allow for reassignment of those funds to a different fund for use in the future if the county needs.
Any questions for Ben on that transfer? We've actually done this, I think, maybe once
Yes,
in the
we've done
past.
this once before.
Yeah. Any questions from the public on this? Need a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
A motion, a second, with roll call vote.
Benega.
Aye.
Barth.
Aye.
Karski.
Aye.
Bender.
Aye.
Hiberger.
Aye, motion passes unanimously. Item number 21 is consider a motion to authorize the intra-fund transfer from the general fund to the COSAP fund. Susan.
Yes, our COSAP fund is entirely funded with federal grant dollars, but we do receive reimbursement a quarter in arrears. Due to a number of contractual obligations, we had to make payment on those contracts before the end of the year, therefore creating a negative cash balance in that fund, thus requiring us to do an inter-fund transfer. At the completion of this grant, we will get those dollars transferred back into the general fund. This is just essentially a timing issue that this inter-fund transfer will help solve.
Okay, questions for Susan on the COSAP grant? Any questions from the audience? Motion, please.
Make a motion to approve?
Second.
A motion, a second, roll call vote.
Bender.
Aye.
Benega.
Aye.
Barth.
Aye.
Karski.
Aye.
Heiberger.
Aye, motion passes unanimously. Item number 22 is consider a motion to authorize the interfund transfer from general funds to 24/7 sobriety fund.
Yes, today we are asking your approval to do an interfund transfer of $70,000 from the general fund to the 24/7 sobriety fund. Prior to 2021, that fund was self-sustaining, but with the COVID pandemic, the nature of the program has changed, and the funding is the ratio of how the funding is working is a little bit different. And so therefore, the county is having to use general funds to help supplement that fund. And so currently, this fund is at a negative cash balance.
Are there any questions on that? Questions from the public? A motion, please. Motion.
You got it.
Okay, Chop.
I'll second. I do have a question.
Yes.
That second bullet point, testing fees are regulated by the state, but the cost for testing supplies is the county's responsibility. So they control the price and we just get to pay it?
I believe that's how that works. Mike Matson's here.
Okay. It just seems like another unfunded mandate, you know. You guys get to do this and we're not gonna help you with it.
Yeah, Mike Matson, warden of the Minnehaha County Jail. That is correct. The fees that we charge are regulated by state statute. So any changes in that regard would have to come from the legislature.
Just wondering. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a motion and a second on the 24/7 sobriety funds. Roll call vote.
Barth.
Aye.
Karski.
Aye.
Bender.
Aye.
Benega.
Aye.
Heiberger.
Aye, motion passes unanimously. Item number 23 is consider a motion to authorize interfund transfers from general fund to emergency management fund.
Yes, as part of our annual budget process, the commission approves an interfund transfer to balance the emergency management fund. As you may recall, there is a federal grant that helps pay for emergency management fund, but it only covers a portion of those expenses. And so the county helps supplement the rest of that. So therefore, we are asking your approval for the budgeted transfer amount of $260,387.
Okay, questions for Susan? Questions from the audience? Motion, please.
So moved.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Roll call
Excuse me.
vote.
Barth.
Aye.
Bender.
Aye.
Karski.
Aye.
Benega.
Aye.
Heiberger.
Aye, motion passes unanimously. Item number 24 is consider motion to authorize the interfund transfer from the ARPA funds to the general fund, highway fund, and the 24/7 fund.
Yes, the total amount of our request is $1,812,786 that will be transferred into the funds as listed on the briefing memo. The ARPA dollars allows for retention incentives, including reasonable compensation increase as an enumerated eligible expense under the award. And as you may recall, the county authorized a matrix adjustment on April 2nd that helped address ongoing and increasing retention and turnover issues within the county. And so therefore, we are asking to transfer those dollars out of the ARPA fund to help reimburse the general fund for those expenditures.
Questions for Susan? Questions from the audience?
Yeah, and so like I said, the last statement I just said, it would be transferred to the general fund, but it would be transferred into those three different funds as listed.
Look for a motion.
Move for approval.
Second?
Motion and a second. Roll call vote.
Benega.
Aye.
Bender.
Aye.
Karski.
Aye.
Barth.
Aye.
Heiberger.
Aye, motion passes unanimously. Item number 25 is the 2022 budget supplements using the personnel savings.
Yes, we had one department requesting to use personnel savings to help cover deficits in their other expenditure section of their budget. As per policy, that can only be used with commission approval. There is a briefing memo attached from Tracy Smith, the director of that department, for the Public Defender Department. She's requesting $50,000 of personnel savings. I believe we have someone from that department here, if you have questions for them.
Any questions for Susan or the Public Defender's Office? Any questions from the public?
Madam Chair?
Commissioner Barth? Karski, excuse me. I'm sorry.
He should be offended, not me. We've, not specifically on this one action here, Susan, but on the last, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 things that we've done. I mean, we're just moving a lot of money around. There's been really the net sum of zero. Is that a correct perception of what we've done?
With the exception of probably the first item where we had the public hearing of budget supplements, those are items that we were over budget
Okay.
for that department and needed those budget supplements to fund that.
But most of the rest of this is moving money from this expense to that expense just to balance our books.
Correct. Or they were maybe grant or donation items where they were unbudgeted to begin with, but we had dollars coming in, and per statute, we don't have to have that as part of a public hearing.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any questions from the public? Then we need a motion on number 25, which is the use of personnel savings.
So move.
Second.
A motion and a second, roll call vote.
Benega.
Aye.
Barth.
Aye.
Karski.
Aye.
Bender.
Aye.
Heiberger.
Aye, motion passes unanimously. Thanks, Susan, that was a lot. Item number 26 is authorize the chairman to sign the animal control contract for 2023. Tyler.
Good morning, Tyler Flack, Commission Office. Before you is an annual update or an annual renewal of the 2023 contract for animal control services. This is with the Sioux Falls Area Humane Society, who's held this contract for a number of years. The dollar amount, as noted in the memo, is the same as 2022 of $47,000. And just a note that if the contract does stipulate that if the budget exceeds 80% of the total, then we'll get together with the Humane Society and kind of figure out where we're headed. But before you is a motion to consider authorizing this 2023 contract.
Questions for Tyler? Questions from the public?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second, roll call vote.
Barth.
Aye.
Karski.
Aye.
Benega.
Aye.
Bender.
Aye.
Heiberger.
Aye, motion passes unanimously. Item number 27 is authorize the chairman to sign the mobile crisis team contract for 2023.
This is another annual update with Southeastern Behavioral Healthcare, who currently serves as our provider for mobile crisis team services. Again, the dollar amount from 2022 is the same as it will be in 2023, and they will be performing on-call as needed mental health professional services for the county.
Questions for Tyler? Questions from the public? Motion?
So move. Benega.
Second comment.
And second with a comment, Commissioner Barth?
You know, I think that there's a perception that we don't do enough in this area, but we work at it. You know, just since I've been on the commission, we've had things like this come up. We've got the Safe Home. We've got, the Bishop Dudley House. These are all in partnership or actually a full product of Minnehaha County, and I don't know if any other counties are doing the mobile crisis stuff, but we've done it, and that's my comment.
When I've been traveling or working with other counties and other states and across the United States on criminal justice stuff, mobile crisis teams come up a lot, and they're like, this is the newest, greatest thing, and we've actually been doing it a long time, and so I'd say we were on the leading edge of figuring out ways to address crisis in our community and also keep those people out of the jail if possible, but trying to de-escalate the situations in the people's homes and figuring out where's the best place for them. Is it jail, is it home, or is it psychiatric care? So it has been very successful here, and it's interesting that across the United States now those things are really starting to bubble up and they're getting used other places. Was there any question? Oh, Commissioner Bender, I'm sorry.
The other thing I'd point out, I mean, one is I'm just struck by how cost effective this program is. And secondly, we see statistics on this every month. We don't always talk about them because they're a lot of times on the consent agenda. But we do monitor to see how well this program is working, and it's tremendously successful, the amount of diversions that they're able to do to keep people at home and de-escalate the situation are incredible, and we get feedback from law enforcement as well, and they're also very pleased with the program. So A lot of times we end up talking about things that are very challenging or somewhat discouraging occasionally, and this is a real bright spot, I think.
Oh, it is. So I have a motion and a second on the mobile crisis team contract. Roll call vote, please.
Benega.
Aye.
Barth.
Aye.
Bender.
Aye.
Karski.
Aye.
Heiberger.
Aye, motion passes unanimously. Item number 28 is authorize the chairman to sign the CCOG Metropolitan Planning Organization Agreement for 2023. Tyler.
This is another annual update that we do with Southeastern Council of Governments, who provide the Metropolitan Planning Organization services. This helps to provide partial funding for county projects. I believe this year we're expected to get about $71,000 as a subrecipient of this program. And again, the request would be for you to authorize the chair to sign this agreement.
Questions for Tyler? Questions from the public? Motion, please.
I would make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second, roll call vote.
Benega.
Aye.
Karski.
Aye.
Barth.
Aye.
Bender.
Aye.
Heiberger.
Aye, motion passes unanimously. Item number 29 is consider a motion to approve the 2023 Financial Action Network Project Charter.
So it's a little more fun. So on November 1st, the commission reviewed a draft of the Financial Action Network Charter. And before you today is an updated version of that with a full list of the membership, an updates to the goals, some of the project milestones. Mostly that's just wordsmithing. There's no substantive changes there. But we have 3 meetings on the books for January and February, and we hope to present that final presentation sometime in March or April.
Is there any questions on that, Commissioner Karski?
I'm looking forward to this. I'm kind of been given the, I think, enviable task of working with this group, and I'm excited about it. I will not be the chair of this. The group will elect their own chair, but we've got members like the president of CCOG, the business director for the Sioux Falls School District, numerous CEOs, CFOs, CPAs, and other people. And this is just a great opportunity for our community to know more about our budgeting and our process and our sources of funds and what it really takes to manage the finances of the county. And it's not just us making these decisions, but we have another, 10 sets of eyes looking at all this, and it's purely advisory, non-binding, but I'm excited about the people that are agreed to sign on and looking forward to the process over the next few months. It's a great opportunity. So, and it's a great way for our community, our citizens to actually be involved in it too, because it's all the people that they know, their neighbors and people they work with. So I think it's a great way for transparency in government.
Commissioner Karski did this let up or was part of this group a few years ago. I think it was kind of his brainchild, and it was very successful for us last time. And we have new people and some not old, but returning members of that group. And it's a really good idea. So any other comments from the commission? Any comments from the public? I need a motion.
Move for approval.
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Item number 13 is authorize the chairman to sign an agreement for mental health legal representation. Carol.
Good morning, Commissioners. Carol Muller, Commission Office. A year and a half ago, we put a contract in place with a private attorney here in town to do the representation of respondents on mental health holds. In other words, if you are the person placed on a mental health hold who is representing you. And we had been using the Public Defender's Office and Public Advocate's Office when there was a conflict that was on there. We've streamlined it quite a bit through this contract. It's worked out well. And this is the annual contract. The rate would go from $2,666 a month to $2,900 a month. Any questions I can answer for you?
Any questions for Carol? Questions for the audience?
Excuse me.
Motion?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Then we're going back to item 8A. Authorize the Sheriff's Office to submit an application for the fiscal year 2022 SCAAP grant, which we talked about a little bit earlier.
Good morning, Commissioners. Joe Bosman, Minnehaha County Sheriff's Office. This morning I have a request for our office to apply for what we call the SCAP grant. It stands for State Criminal Alien Assistance Program. It's a program that we've annually been participating in with the Sheriff's Office through the Bureau of Justice Assistance. What it is we take into account the expenses that our jail incurs while housing individuals that have an unknown or potentially illegal status in their country, that we can submit those expenses and days that they've been in our jail to the federal government and receive some sort of compensation back for our expenses incurred. Generally, we receive right around $42,000 to $44,000 out of this program. It's quite extensive work, data driven, but we find value in it, and so we ask your acceptance to apply for it again this year.
Any questions? Commissioner Barth?
Joe, we don't have to split this equitably with the city, do we?
No, this one is all ours. So.
Baby.
Any other questions? Any questions from the audience?
I make a motion to approve this.
Second.
I have a motion, a second, roll call vote.
Barth,
Aye.
Benega,
Aye.
Bender,
Aye.
Karski,
Aye.
Heiberger.
Aye, motion passes unanimously. Item number B is authorize the commission chairman to sign the 2023 vehicle lease agreement with Vernity Motor Cars Incorporated.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Josh Phillips, Captain with the Sheriff's Office. We're just looking to your approval for the contract with Vernity for 1 year. Excuse me. These funds are basically reimbursed by HIDA. We have 2 detectives that qualify under the HIDA. This is the same agreement that the city of Sioux Falls is in. So the monetary amount is identical to what their agreement is also. The unique thing about this is these individuals that get these cars sometimes switch out every 2 weeks, every month, maybe 3 months. And so it's a unique contract with them. And I think with the times of the used market for vehicles, it's a fair contract for this year. Any questions?
No questions? Questions from the audience? Okay, then we need a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second with a roll call vote.
Benega,
Aye.
Barth,
Aye.
Bender,
Aye.
Karski,
Aye.
Heiberger.
Aye, motion passes unanimously. Item number 31 is recognition of retiring elected officials, Commissioner Barth, Commissioner Heiberger, and Register of Deeds, Julie Risty. He's here.
Actually, I will just probably kick us off by saying this is our very last week for 3 elected officials who chose not to run again for office, Commissioner Heiberger, Commissioner Barth, and Register of Deeds, Julie Risty. So we have had parties for everybody. We've had nice recognition events where we've had fun with it, but we wanted to do one last official recognition today, and I've asked Vice Chairman Jean Bender if she would present those.
Yes, so I have gifts for each one of you. I would just like to, now I am going to get emotional. Last week I didn't get emotional. This is a tremendous amount of institutional knowledge that is walking out our door, and we are going to miss all of you a lot. And last week, I think it seemed okay because you're going to be here this week. Next week, you won't be here. But I would very much like to thank Commissioners Heiberger and Barth for their many, many, many years of service together. And just as a point of personal privilege, thank you both because you guys trained me up. And I wouldn't be here without both of you. And for Julie Risty, I'm going to walk around and hand out some gifts, but I would, you have been a shining star for the county. Folks that have to deal with you day in and day out know what a well-run shop you have down there, what a loyal team you've put together, and you can graciously say no better than anybody I know how. And you're very good at keeping our a tremendous amount of work is done by the Register of Deeds that most people have no idea. And so thank you very much. I'm going to walk around, deliver gifts, and I'm going to let the other commissioners speak if they would like to.
Commissioner Barth.
I just want to say that Gene Bender was one of the easiest commissioners to train.
We're gonna miss you.
Jeff, I know you had some comments. Did you want to say them, or
Sure,
did
if
you
you
want to
don't
wait?
mind.
Yep, that, or we can do them.
I just want to thank the county employees. Especially this weekend, we've been thinking about the highway department, the sheriff's department, the correctional officers, the fire and ambulance volunteer people, and all the others, the department heads, the line employees, Julie, Cindy, Gerald, Jean, Dean, especially Melinda. I seriously meant to say that, and then she walked in. Apropos, you got the cue from Tony, right?
That's right.
In any case, a couple of comments I'd like to make also, which is words of wisdom for the newbies. Make a motion or second a motion. Otherwise, we just sit here. Make a motion, second a motion. You've seen me do it. And, you know, we think about the good old days. The good old days when I served with Gerald. Wait a minute. I remember the good old days when I was in the Army. Or were they that good? My memory fades. But these are the good old days. And the new good old days start tomorrow. Keep that in mind. Thank you.
Julie, did you want to say something?
Yeah, good morning, Commissioners. I just want to say what a pleasure it has been to work with our county commission for the last 20 years. I wasn't going to say how many years it's been, but you've all been just tremendously professional, knowledgeable. It's just been a pleasure in so many ways. Thank you. It's been an honor to serve the county, to not have had to have a runoff election every 4 years. I'm just very, very honored. So thank you so much, and I wish you all the best, and all the best for the new Register of Deeds who's coming in, Amanda Halsey. She will do great, I know it, and I will see you all, even though I'm disappearing from the administration building, I'll be around. So thank you all so much.
Thanks, Julie. And I'm also going to jump right in and just say, you know, I want to thank all of our staff. I said this last week too, that you come in and you don't know what you're getting to work with when you get elected, and it's been amazing. Every person I've encountered has just been helpful. They love their jobs. They always try to make us look better and feel better, even if we make mistakes or make decisions they don't like. No decision is really a bad decision. It's just a decision you now have to live with, and so you have to move on. So remember that, new commissioners who are sitting here, that just make a decision like Jeff said. You know, it's been a privilege and an honor to be elected several times by our county, and so I want to say thank you to our constituents out there that put their trust in us to lead the county, and it has been a pleasure, and it's been really fun. There have been days when it's been really stressful, but it is a very fun job, and I will always remember the great times that we've had. Thank you to the elected officials. Everyone has different personalities, but we get along really well, and we can work together, and we can make good decisions together. And Julie, I'll miss you too. It's just, yeah, you could pop in Julie's office, and she's down there, and she's just quiet, but she's holding up a huge another part of our county that people are probably not really aware of. And then I want to thank my fellow commissioners, because even though you may think you learned from Jeff and I, we learned a lot from all of you too. I remember sitting in Jeff's chair when I was a brand new commissioner in the other room, and watching Commissioner Benega all the time, trying to figure out, okay, I could do this better, and I could do this better. And so I learned a lot from him. Jeff was my go-to to say, do I need to go to this meeting? Do I need to do this? And so Jeff did a lot of training of me too. So anything I did wrong, blame it on Jeff. So he's the one who told me. But it's been a pleasure and an honor, and thank you all, and I wish you all the best as you continue to go forward. So, okay. Thank you to our wizard in the closet. We couldn't do this without him either. So thanks, Tony. All right. I made it through without crying. I said it was my party and I was going to cry if I wanted to, but I didn't. So. Public comment, this is an opportunity if anybody wants to speak at public comment. Okay, and then we have liaison reports. Are there any liaison reports from last week, Jeff?
Madam Chair, you know, I'm on the East Dakota Water Development District, and I think that that is the biggest issue we have going forward is water. You know what they say, whiskey's for drinking, water's for fighting. And if we don't get more water, our population, our opportunity for economic development will cease. And so going forward, it's probably the biggest issue we have, in my opinion. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff. Other liaisons? Commissioner Pennica?
I attended a Metro Management meeting last week, which was extensive and long, and frankly, addressed a lot of things in the exact for this point. But anyway, there's always the continuing conversations about trying to get people trained up to speed and running so that they're able to maintain the Metro communications process. I thought about that a lot over the last couple of days because of the fact that they took a lot of calls, I'm sure, and they did a lot of dispatching. We're lucky to have a group that works together, but we need more people. And we're still working on how to find that solution. That's all I had for this time.
Okay, anybody else? Commissioner Kowarski?
I was supposed to be at the Metro Management meeting, but I was in Pierre for the State Association of County Commissioners meeting, which was postponed from the prior week. Drove up Tuesday night. We met Wednesday for 4 hours, took care of a lot of the routine business of the State Association, but we also had an extended, probably a couple hours, just looking at upcoming legislation that will be happening. I'm not going to go into the details. If anybody has questions, you can ask me. We did have a presentation by the governor's policy, I believe, director. I believe his name is Josh. I can't remember. I'm sorry. Terrible that I didn't bring it here. But basically took time to brief our organization on one of the governor's budget proposals on FMLA and maternity leave and that type of thing, going from an unfunded benefit that we provide with an unknown quantity, how much will we have to pay, to maybe going to an insured type of plan through like an AFLAC or that type of program where we just pay a portion of our or percentage of our payroll costs, and then it's funded through that program. So, and it's going to be offered to all the municipalities, the states, or the school districts, et cetera. So it might be something we want to consider. It would be totally voluntary on the county's part, but it would be, I suggested that I would like to see the numbers because our Human Resources Director, Carrie Deaver, does a great job of digging into those numbers and looking at it. So just to see what it would mean for us, because it could be a benefit and it might not be. So, and then following the meeting, I had a harrowing 4.5 hour ride through back to Sioux Falls. I was going to spend the night, but if I did, I probably wouldn't have made it home till Saturday. But yeah, it was one of the most interesting drives on Highway 83 that you could ever possibly fathom. So, yeah.
Glad you're home safe.
Yep.
Any other liaison reports? I have a couple. We had our juvenile partnership meeting last week, and that is not our 16 partners that we have in the JDC. This is the group that meets to talk about juvenile policy. And you will probably see next week, I hope, the MOU for that group that organizes it. And we met, and a lot of our conversation was around truancy. The school districts are on this board too. Talked about truancy and a lot about diversion, and a lot of conversation was centered around the need for Minnehaha County to have another diversion officer and what that would look like, and whether we are creating enough funds from our reimbursements from the state that we could afford to put another diversion officer in. Sadly, our state's attorney wasn't there, and so he didn't get a part of that conversation. It was a lot of other people just bringing up the need for additional diversions in Minnehaha County, and then just, it's always a conversation of how do you deal with truancy, and so a lot of conversation about truancy again. And then also met with President Dunn from SDSU. He was here in town, and Carol Muller and I. And then Planning and Zoning came up and had a very nice conversation with him about extension, 4-H, and Planning and Zoning and what we do in Minnehaha County. So it was a very enjoyable time. I hadn't met him before, so it was very nice to be included. And I think that's all that I have. If there's no other liaison reports, we'll go on to non-action commission discussion. Seeing none, I would like to have a motion to recess for executive session.
That's my motion.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. We're adjourned for now.